When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That just might work, ayy. When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That just might work, ayy. That just might work.
Welcome back to another episode of the Michel Matters Podcast. I'm Jocks Michel.
And I'm Jackie Michelle.
All right, welcome back.
Hey, guys.
I'm losing track. I think this is episode 49.
Yes.
Yeah, getting closer to the 50.
Yeah.
And the year off right. So, I mean, I don't think nothing too special happened these last 2 weeks. But you want to recap what's been going on?
I don't even know where to start.
I mean...
I turned 30.
Oh! Yeah, true. I guess something did happen.
Yeah. So that was really good. You planned a lot of
festivities.
festivities.
You know, I'm here to talk about it.
You planned a lot of festivities.
Mm-hmm. What did you do for you?
That I had no idea. So you woke me up super early.
Okay, because, yeah, I have to go to work, so yes.
Yes. You woke me up super early to give me my gift.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had a half day that day.
Yeah.
So then we went to see Queen and Slim.
Yes. So how was that?
It was good. It was a really good movie. You guys should go see it.
I wanted to add it to...
It came out on my birthday.
Yes.
Yeah.
We went to iPick.
Yeah.
Nice little situation.
This is where you dine and watch at the same time.
Yeah. So I didn't know what exactly to expect from the movie. But after watching, I was like, there was like a couple scenes that like that would never happen in real life. But
for sure.
Aside from that, though, like just the way it was shot and the writing and the acting, it was really good.
Yeah.
I think most people would enjoy it. So I definitely say go out and watch it. Let us know what you think. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to give nothing away.
No.
But it was a really good
it was
movie.
really good. And then I was ready to just go home, throw on my pajamas, and I did that.
Yeah, we did.
And then at like 9 o'clock at night, I think.
8.
8?
Yeah, it was like 8.
No, it was supposed to be at 8.
True, okay. It was supposed to be at 8. I scheduled for a couple of Jackie's friends to come over. And
they're your friends too.
Yeah,
but they're like a part of one of my wine nights.
They wouldn't come over for me.
Yeah, so it was like 9 o'clock. It's a knock at the door, and I'm like, who is it? Because I'm literally falling asleep on the couch.
Yeah, and I'm doing everything I can to keep her awake, so...
I know. He's like, let's take a shot. I'm like, a shot?
And we never do this. Like just the two of us.
Okay, fine. Whatever.
So I was like, yeah, let's take a shot for your birthday. I'm like, I just needed to wake up. So then finally...
Which, by the way, a shot is not going to wake me up.
It's
so
not.
I don't understand that.
But I didn't think about, like... this is the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, something for her to do.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe this might, just the fact that you'd have to drink alcohol, that it might wake you up a little bit. I don't know.
Oh, that's going to put me to sleep.
Listen, I didn't think it through, clearly.
But then, like, they walked through, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, they walked through with food, wine.
Yeah, so it was just in desserts and stuff like that. Yeah,
pies. So, kind of like a mini Friendsgiving, I guess.
That's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like Friendsgiving / wine night. It was since Jackie's birthday is the day before Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, in my mind, the way I planned it out, I was like, all right, Wednesday could be just about us, but at the same time, she didn't go to work that day. So I'm also like, she's not getting any other human interaction. So,
which is
how you like it.
It was good. Yeah.
So I was like, let me get some of her friends, do something small, some real low key at the house, just to kind of cap the night off. I know, like, she can do it in her pajamas. It's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
So then I invited them. I feel like that was pretty good. And then the next day was Thanksgiving.
So that was, like, very family focused.
Yeah. We did the tour.
Yeah.
Small
tour. Your parents.
One of my parents first.
My parents.
Now, something about your family. It was like 9 o'clock and y'all still didn't eat yet.
Was it?
Yes. And I was like, I couldn't do this. Like, you waiting for your Thanksgiving meal because for most people that was like their Thanksgiving meal of the day.
Yeah.
And y'all didn't eat till like 9 o'clock.
Well, when we were younger, we used to eat at like 2.
That sounds
I would say we used to eat at like 2 because we would go to the parade and then go home, eat. Everybody came or whatever. And then I don't know what happened. Like my mom just decided to start throwing parties at night for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about, but
I don't know either.
If it's up to me, next year we're changing that. I'll help her myself.
You're gonna host it here?
I'll help her, and we're gonna do this thing a little earlier because if that was the meal, because at first my mom wasn't even gonna cook. We were just gonna do a Thanksgiving joint with your family and my family. Yeah. If that was the meal I was waiting on, I was gonna be hot. The food was good. Don't get me wrong. Food was good.
It was just later.
Yeah, super late. My brother came home. So we did that, him and his girlfriend, and my family and Jackie.
Why you putting all his business out there?
What you mean? That's his girlfriend.
Okay.
I ain't say her name or social or nothing. But yeah. So we did that. And what else happened that day? Nothing else, really.
No. So that was like, it was kind of like a jam-packed day, but it was Thanksgiving. So whatever. Then the next day we
chilled for the most part during the day. The whole time we were supposed to go to Topgolf. It was supposed to be me, my sister, Jackie, and my niece. But secretly at the same time, I was planning to invite more people.
Yeah.
And, do it up for Jackie's birthday. Because in my mind it was like us on Wednesday, family on Thursday, and then, friends on Friday.
Yeah.
That's the way I had it planned out in my head. So originally we were supposed to do Topgolf, and then I found out how much Topgolf costs for a large group of people, and I was like, nah, can't do it, boss. I just couldn't do it. So we ended up
going bowling,
yeah. I tried to surprise Jackie, but here's the thing about when you do things on one income, or one, like, all our income is joint. Mm-hmm. She figured it out. I don't know. She didn't know the extent.
I knew we were going bowling.
Yeah. But I had told you.
But you told me. But I knew then.
You just thought it was just us.
I thought it was, I thought it was us 4. And then, obviously, that was the day before. Wait, today's the 1st. We're recording on the 1st. But that was like 2 days before the end of the month. Okay. And so that's usually when I kind of start getting the budget together so that we can sit on the 1st and go over the next month. So I'm like, so I'm looking through like, transactions and stuff like that. And all of our cards and accounts are linked in this one account. So I seen the bowling place, like the bowling alley's name, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's where we're going. And then I seen the price, and I was like, I don't remember it being that much, but whatever. Yeah, I was like, I thought it was like $10, like whatever. So I didn't ask no questions. So then I was just like,
nah, you asked questions.
I asked one question, and I was like, do not lie to me. I said that.
You didn't say don't lie.
Yes, I did. Okay. I said, who's coming? Don't lie to me. And you were like, it's us 4.
No, I said it was us 4.
And then maybe your brother
Nick,
was coming.
Which was very true. Maybe Nick.
But that's a lie, because it's way more than that.
I didn't know if those other people were coming. You asked me who's
all
coming.
Those other people you didn't know they was
coming for sure. And that was me, you, Judy, and London.
You didn't know any of the other people were coming for sure?
I mean,
so now you're going to lie right now?
Do you ever really know?
So he's going to lie right now. That's fine.
You never really know for sure.
But anyway, so we were parking, and this is how good God is, because we're parking.
That's not true. Don't put that on him. I blame my sister, but go on.
And yeah, so our sister's in the car, and she's like, oh, is that so-and-so? Like one of our friends. And I was like, really? Like so-and-so, so-and-so?
But my thing is, my sister asked me.
And his wife. And then I was like, okay, cool. So it's going to be like a lot of people that I know.
My sister asked me, and I told her, I was like, she said, does Jackie know what we're doing? I said, she knows what we're doing, but she doesn't know who's coming. That was like a clear conversation we had.
Yeah, but I would have, they parked right next to us. I would have seen them get out the car.
Divine intervention. Like it happened. But it's the way she did it.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God, that's so-and-so. And I'm just like, really? Really? Like we couldn't even get out the car. At least let her see them for herself. she like yelled it out, and I was just like, whatever. At this point, I was tired of keeping secrets. I was tired of ripping and running because this was a lot of work. Like, I'm never doing that again. So I love you, but I won't do it again.
That's fine.
It's too much coordination, too much waiting on people. Thank goodness the bowling people were like real lenient.
Yeah.
Because I had a reservation for a certain time, and she held it open for me even though we were late. And so yeah.
It made you donate to something.
Yeah, I mean, it was worth it.
So that has to be in the budget too.
With the donation?
Yeah.
It was $5.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know. You didn't tell me.
Nah, it was something like she kind of just like it was like, you know, when you go to the grocery store and like, do you want to donate $1 to?
Oh yeah.
It was one of those. And
okay.
So she was like, she told me she's.
So you got your name on the little card?
Yes, my name's on the wall at the Spears Bowling Alley.
Okay, so that was fun. He invited like just random groups of people that we're really close to. That was like, okay, this is really cool. Like, because those people had never hung out together. Mm-hmm. So it was nice. And then, what did we do after? We came home. We started watching that movie.
Paid in Full.
Paid in Full.
Because Jackie's never seen Paid in Full.
I've seen
Another
it now.
black movie
I've seen
that
it
she's
now.
Never seen.
So, and it wasn't that great.
Oh.
So, I'm good with the black movies I have seen.
I mean, there's a couple others. We got to go through your list.
Yeah,
and see
for
what
sure.
You missed.
We got to go through your list, too.
It's still a traffic. Like, you've never seen Cool Runnings, and I would not let you.
Yeah, but we're going to see that next month.
All right.
So, yeah, and then the next day we went to our friend's house. Well, the next day wasn't that busy, but could have been busier. Because we got like a haircut and all that stuff.
Oh man,
We're not gonna talk about it. Not gonna talk about it. But we went to one of our friends' house. Yeah, because one of the last episodes they were like, "When was your last argument?" Saturday.
Yesterday.
It was Saturday.
It was yesterday, and then
and it was his fault.
What?
100%.
It was my fault. And
you don't feel like you was overreacting.
100%. All right.
80-20.
I'm gonna say 60-40. I own up to what I did, and the thing is, I didn't do anything wrong.
You was overreacting about something,
and then you overreacted afterwards.
I overreacted because you were overreacting. So you
60-40.
That's what leading is. I'm gonna go 60. Household.
That's why I take the 60. I'll take the 60.
Take the 70.
It's 60-40.
Take the 70.
60. But nonetheless, look, I may have overreacted. The thing is, it's so funny because it's overreacting to Jackie, but it's not overreacting to me.
Do you want to tell them?
Yeah, I'll go this far.
Okay.
I'll give them a little bit. So the thing is, I've talked about here, and we've kind of gone over my hair journey, and going from my barber on 7th Ave to now my barber in Miramar. Mm-hmm. So we were supposed to take pictures, and
we did take
pictures actually today, and I for some reason.
So first of all, let's backtrack because I set up the picture appointment maybe like 10 days before the actual date of the picture taking. Mm-hmm. So he knew in advance. Correct?
Carry on, man. Tell the whole story. You don't got to stop.
Okay, so you knew in advance, like, we were taking pictures. You had at least a week to figure out your life. You already knew what you was going to wear. You told me what you were going to wear. Mm-hmm. Cool. I'm thinking, all right, cool. So Sunday come, we're going to take the picture and we're good. Saturday, you could proceed from there.
Okay, so I have this thing. So Jackie did tell me, I want to say like a week in advance, but anytime I'm going to do, like, if I'm going to take pictures, if we have a wedding to go to, I don't get a haircut like a week in advance. I like fresh cuts, especially if you're going to take pictures. The cut has to be fresh.
What's fresh? Like 2 days?
Minimum or maximum, like 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was planning out, but at the same time, you have to remember, I'm also trying to plan your birthday. I'm doing a lot of stuff. So I didn't get it last week. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what my barber's schedule was going to be like coming into this week. So I wasn't prepared for him to not be working like
all week.
Yeah, all week. And I also kind of forgot that the pictures were this week. I don't know why. It was just a lot going on. Look, end of the story. All right. It came to Saturday. I'm like, oh, shoot. I never got a haircut. And the pictures are tomorrow. And it's like, I have to find another person to cut my hair. And there was a point I was considering just not getting a haircut for the pictures. But then I was like, no, people are going to see these. I have to get a haircut. So I was stressing.
Very much so.
I was, because and we had a lot of things to do that day. Going to see.
In the grand scheme of things, we didn't have a lot of things to do.
Because we canceled something.
What did we cancel?
We canceled recording the podcast.
Everything was already done by that point.
What? No. Well, yes.
Yes.
But
I just canceled because I was like, what's the point of squeezing it in? We could just do it tomorrow. It's fine.
All right. But originally, that was the schedule of the day, included recording the podcast. Mm-hmm. So at the beginning of the day, when we had that initial argument, there were a lot of things to be done that day. Mm-hmm. And then as we worked our way through the discussion of it, we started eliminating things, and it was like, oh, we could make it work. But that wasn't the original plan. So yes, I was stressing. Then Jackie was stressing that I was stressing. I give her 60-40. We don't got to go into the details. I give her 60-40.
So yes, you can have an argument about a haircut in a marriage.
I almost ruined the whole day. Almost. We have the dumbest arguments.
Yes.
And I will admit to that. We do have some of the dumbest arguments. And, I mean,
it's crazy.
It makes us who we are.
No, it's crazy. But yeah, so then we went to our friend's house at the end of the day. Because he was like, okay, I just need to, decompress. He watched his game or whatever. Yeah. I went to IKEA and Target. And then we went to...
is free.
And then, I spent birthday money, so. And then we went to our friend's house and watched Us, because we had never seen it. And we're still confused.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start with that movie.
So
I'm not going to discuss it because...
Yeah, it was a good time with friends, but it was just like, what is this movie? Like, okay. Because we seen Get Out.
Yeah, I could understand.
And,
I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Us has... I mean, you could interpret it so many different ways that arguing about it is not worth it. I'm not going to argue how to interpret a movie that no one has interpreted for us. No. So, I ain't going to do it.
Yeah. So that's what happened. And then today we took our photos.
And we've been off. Well, I've been off since Wednesday pretty much. And I'm already dreading going back to work tomorrow. This was a really good break.
Yeah.
But real life comes back tomorrow.
Back to life.
I'm looking forward to it.
But yeah, so let's see. I feel like we had a comment on YouTube. Somebody had commented on a video about the sound, but it was from, I want to say, earlier this year.
Okay, look.
So you guys, the sound has improved.
Those things are done. Those problems are gone.
You will not have these issues.
Yeah, I cleaned that up. I actually talked to somebody about that this week too.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I was like, they were saying they had stopped listening for a little while.
Dang.
Cause I felt ashamed. And I was like, look, man, the house is clean now. Like the all our problems are kind of put away. We good now. So
yeah. So you won't run into those issues.
Yeah, man. It sound crispy now. Y'all boys enjoy.
Anything else?
Not on that.
All right, cool.
All right.
So you guys can subscribe and rate us on iTunes. And you can subscribe on YouTube as well.
Yes.
Because if you don't know, you can actually see us doing this in person. Or not in person, but on video. And then you can send us comments on SoundCloud or on the gram at Michel Matters.
Yes. Jackie took a lot of time to work on this page. You guys comment, like, all that on the page. Like while you can still like on Instagram.
I heard that. Okay.
But yeah, go ahead, add us on there, and don't forget you can add us or comment on our other socials.
Yes.
Jackie on Instagram at Jackie I Michelle, and me on Twitter at Coach _JOX.
Yes.
All right, on to the Michel Matter. So for this episode's Michel Matter, we wanted to go into a topic that I feel like we've been wanting to talk about for a while, and it's so deep. I guess it's deep.
Yeah.
And it has layers. But we want to talk about being Black and Christian, and young.
In America.
In America, yes. I feel like it's a super touchy subject. You don't think so?
I do.
Oh, okay, because you kind of looked over. I wasn't sure.
I'm listening.
No. But yeah, it's a super touchy subject. I feel like navigating through it has been interesting.
Sip my tea.
Especially in today's political climate, because politics have blended so much into like everything, and religion is not free from it. So yeah, I think to start off, I wanted to kind of go over how would you describe like your overall experience being a young Black Christian in America.
That's a heavy question. You didn't tell me you was gonna ask me that.
I mean, you didn't look at the notes.
Ooh.
It's like the first thing on the notes.
Yeah, so I don't feel...
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go. Go ahead.
Lead? This is what you consider leading?
Lead.
So for me, I feel like I feel conflicted at times. Because a lot of what Christianity talks about, or what we talk about in church, is almost the losing of your culture. And that Christianity is your culture. The Christ culture that we take on. But I feel like at the same time, it's so hard, and especially today's climate, to ignore the fact that I am a Black person in America, and a lot of what that comes with centers around my Blackness. So I feel like a lot of the way my interactions are at church, my interactions with Christians outside of church, they have to, my Blackness plays a role.
Yeah. And
a lot of times people want you to kind of set them aside, and it's not easy. I understand maybe where the idea comes from, but to think that as Black people we can just ignore certain things because of Christ and the ideals, I don't think are easy, and I don't think it's been easy, especially these last couple years.
Yeah.
Because
I think you being a Black man too has a different play in all of that, like compared to me.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I because I feel like it's not to be loaded, but I feel like a lot of times people want Black people to leave their Blackness, I guess, at the door when it comes to Christianity, is because that's kind of what they go to take themselves away from certain, I believe, responsibilities as white people, because it's easier that way to not bring race into it, to leave it at the door and pretend like it doesn't exist. But I just can't. So
yeah. I think for me, I mean, obviously the past couple years have been way harder, because I don't feel like I've had to defend myself with people that I know, but on social media, you can see the conversations happening, like, where you kind of feel like you may have to defend yourself about certain things. Specifically, like, let's see. I don't even know where to start, man. Okay, so what?
Get it out. I told you.
I know.
We spoke about this episode yesterday.
And I was saying, spoke about this episode like a year ago.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted to get some ideas and just thoughts out.
Yeah. And
I'm like, this could go on for a long time because there's just so many different layers and ways to go about it.
Yeah. Just because you start figuring out that you don't think similarly like the people that you sit next to plenty of times during the week. And so you almost feel like you have to defend yourself all the time. And not that church is supposed to be like some form of escapism, but you almost feel like, okay, well, this is not utopia, but this is like, we're supposed to be free, you know, like
Those
free
issues
from,
shouldn't come
yeah,
into the
free
church.
from sin, free from everything is supposed to happen in church. And that's not how I feel. So, makes you feel kind of like disconnected in a space where it's supposed to be your community, you know, like that's what church is supposed to be, is community and all that, but it really just doesn't feel that way. But I think even taking it back, we spoke about our church experience. Like every church has its own culture in the grand scheme of church culture, if that makes sense. So if the church that we're at, the culture is different from like the church that I came from growing up. So it's still kind of weird trying to fit into that. And then with, you know, everything that's happened, the shooting of Black people and the church not saying much is like just piles on top of that. So I was always used to like, I want to say, so my first pastor here was Black and Haitian. His wife was white. And we're going to talk about race, obviously, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
But, and then my second church, the pastor was white. It was almost like, yeah, the pastor was white, but the church as a whole was Caribbean. And then he retired and the pastor was Jamaican. So, and he was mixed. And then now the church that we go to, the pastor is white and the congregation is pretty diverse.
Yeah, it's diverse, but for the most part, it's pretty Black. Our church, I would say, is like 70-30.
The congregation.
Yes.
But I wouldn't call us a Black church.
Culturally, no.
There's a difference.
A big difference. One of the things that I kind of left off, because I think for the most part, I gave my experiences being a Black Christian in the church. Mm-hmm. Outside of the church, it's also been difficult because I feel like, especially as of late, there's been a lot of wokeness.
Yeah.
Amongst the Black community, and I mean, a lot of this stuff has always been around. As far as, you know, just why Christianity and why Christianity is not geared towards Black people, quote unquote. I mean, Nation of Islam, all that stuff. They've attacked, or these things have always been around, but I feel like lately it's really like picked up in the way that I guess Black Christians are attacked in that way. So it almost feels like I'm not comfortable in the Christian community as a whole, and then I'm not even comfortable in the Black community.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're in a limbo where you have to find other Black young Christians so you can find some type of common ground and somewhere where you can feel comfortable and almost accepted.
Yeah.
So that's to me is also another hard thing to navigate.
Yeah. Where should we go from here?
Okay, so one of the biggest, I think, like I don't want to say battlegrounds, but areas that I feel like it's difficult sometimes for Black Christians is the internet. Being on social media, people have freedom to say whatever, and at the same time, we have freedom to not respond. But sometimes it's so hard.
Yeah. It's been very hard for you, sir.
That's not true. It's not been very hard for me. But yes,
you can't not respond.
I guess one of my big things is that being a Christian and being a part of a church, especially when someone who I guess is a member of my church or a member of the community is saying something that I feel like completely rejects what the Bible says, I feel compelled to say something.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's the internet, so people, talk spicy and stuff like that. But I try to keep it, as composed as possible. But I feel like I don't know, I just feel compelled to respond.
Have to say something.
Yeah, so, yeah, I've gotten into a couple little situations, but, I mean...
You are downplaying this so much.
I'm not trying to downplay it. But I feel like I am more apt to kind of have that conversation with someone who's a Christian versus someone who's a non-Christian. So I'd rather have the conversation with a brother or sister in Christ who's saying something that I feel like is racist or like prejudice.
Yeah. Versus
arguing with maybe a brother in the Nation of Islam or another black person who's not a Christian, because our ideas and views are different.
Yeah.
I don't hold non-Christians to the same standards that I hold Christians.
Right.
So a Christian, black, white, and different, I hold you to my standards and the standards of the Bible. So you can get it. Like, brotherly in love, I can come to you and be like, hey, look, no, that's not right. Maybe I won't use those exact words. I could probably work on that. But I don't like the way Jackie's like making a face right now.
No, because I've been in your corner.
You have.
And, I haven't really. So, okay. So, I feel like it's just, I will say, I'm going to bring in an article that I read last year. That kind of ties into this. So, if you guys want to look at it, we'll put the link below. And basically, it was from the New York Times, and it was entitled A Quiet Exodus, Why Black Worshippers Are Leaving White Evangelical Churches. And one of the people who stood out to me in the story was one of the main people they spoke about, named Charmaine Pruitt. She was attending a church, a mainly white congregation, and she was just very uncomfortable about the fact that they were not talking about, everyone that was getting gunned down and, police brutality and everything. Meanwhile, we're praying for Brussels, we're praying for Paris, we're praying for everybody who's not black. Meanwhile, in America, this is happening. So she just felt a disconnect, and she decided to start going to a majority black church. And she would just pull from a hat, like every week, just different church names. Yeah, because she's just like, I already have to deal with this Monday through Saturday. Like, I don't want to have to deal with this on Sunday. And I've heard before, like, Sunday is the most segregated day, or at like 10
Sunday
o'clock
morning,
on a Sunday is the most segregated day in America. And it's true. So even when you're sitting next to people at your church and you're thinking we're all on the same page, we're all aligned on this, it's not true. And that's the part where it's like, okay, what are we, like, what does this mean now? Like, this whole time you was just racist? Like, I don't even know another word. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you just didn't care for me? Like, you was just side-eyeing me, or what? Like, what is it? Yeah. Am I one of the good ones? Like, what?
No, you on to something. I feel like,
I think that's where the, I guess, church hurt comes into play as well. Because, like, for you, you've been in the same church for a long time. So it would hit harder. Whereas, like, for me, I was kind of like a insider outsider. Yeah, and I could kind of see some things coming from certain people.
Go ahead, talk about it.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, this was not shocking. The people who you've had internet wars with, who you literally are a few rows behind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, how did that feel for you? Or, like...
and we've had this discussion before a little bit where I've said I liked it better when I didn't know what everybody thought.
Yeah. It was brewing before.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, once all of these news stories were coming out, it was brewing. But then, like, the icing on the cake was Trump.
And I think that's where is he to blame for everything? No, but it's a mixture of his divisiveness and the freedom of the internet. And I think it led to a lot of people just like picking sides, standing on a side, and yelling from their side of the line, right? It's not really people having productive discussions. Granted, at this point, I kind of understand. The internet's not the place to have productive discussions.
There you go.
But at the same time, I don't have a problem with like stating a fact and then walking away. So like, if I feel like somebody says something wrong, I'm not gonna go back and forth with you unless you like.
Yeah, because you took it to the internet.
Yeah.
So we gonna do this on the internet.
Unless you show me some form of like, hey, I'd like to know more about your side. Like, I'm just gonna, say my piece real quick and walk away. I'll leave it at that. If you feel moved in one way or the other, that's on you. But yeah, it's like before I knew, and because the thing is, you have to assume too, these people always thought like this.
Yeah.
It just wasn't publicized, and I don't feel like people felt as open to say certain things. Mm-hmm. I do think one of the things that people liked about Trump was how, like unafraid he was, and he didn't have any political correctness. I mean, I guess if that's what you're into, but as a Christian, I feel like there is some form of political correctness that needs to be had, because I don't expect us to agree on everything. I mean, Christians, just like any group of people, you're not monolithic, right? You have there are black people who are, and it's just the black and whiteness of it. People feel like being a Republican is a white thing or being Democrat is a black thing. There are people who are Democrats or Republicans for their own personal reasons. Like, if some people just may not want their taxes to be super, cut every year, or like, you
gotta vote one way or the other.
Yeah. So I feel like, just the pick one side or pick the other, I feel like it caused a division, amongst us in a way that people go hard for. Yeah. And at the detriment of maybe their Christian brothers and sisters. And it almost feels like people have, they cling harder to their political views than their Christian views at this point. Mm-hmm. And that's disheartening. And I would say that on both sides of the line too. I don't think it's strictly a Trump supporter thing. Because I feel like some Democrats just go too left. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like what you mentioned earlier about us having, feeling like we have to leave our culture at the door. Mm-hmm. I don't, and if you're white and you're a Christian and listening to this, let me know if I'm wrong. But I don't feel like white people feel like this.
Like what?
Like they have conflicted? They have to leave their culture at the door. Because what?
No, go ahead, finish. I'll say what I have to say after.
Because I don't know how to put this.
Do you want me to say what I had to say?
Like, I don't want to say like you don't have a culture, but I don't.
No.
Like, in a sense, like there's a whole nother world. Like we live different. I don't know how to say it without just outright saying.
I mean, you can say what you want to say. Yeah, I feel like
you're right. It's my podcast.
I feel like I don't think white people have that same issue with having to leave, or I think some white people do leave their culture at the door, but I think it's to their benefit, because if I leave my culture at the door, that means we don't have to talk about how the church neglected black people during the civil rights movement. Yeah. It's like, look, that was the past. We were Christians. We moved on. Yada, yada. Like, but as a black person, if I bring that in, then it's, oh man, you're dividing the church. You know what I'm saying? Like, if both of us leave our cultures at the door, we don't have to talk about it. But I don't feel like black people are in a position to just let that go like that. It's not to our benefit. Right. It's to your benefit. Right. Because then you don't have to talk about it. Right. And if I bring in, just all the things that are going on, yeah, we're going to have difficult conversations. And I don't feel like the church has wanted to have those difficult conversations. No. one example is the Southern Baptist Convention last year. They had a motion to, I guess, add a statement kind of saying where their stance was on racism and just some of the cultural events that have been going on. And the first day, I guess, that it was proposed, it wasn't voted on. Yeah. And there was a huge uproar because people were saying, you know, they felt like the Black agenda got pushed to the side. And we did not feel heard. Black people did not feel heard in that moment. So I don't know if it was due to the uproar or, I mean, there was different ways they were saying that, you know, it was just like a timing thing, or they ended up voting on it again the next day, and it got passed. Yeah. But, I mean, it almost lets you...
It took for all of that.
Yeah, like, it took an uproar for the church to just make a statement, not to do anything.
Right.
Not to act, but to make a statement and show where we stand in the chaos. And I feel like, as a Black person, I would feel better because I know that my fellow Black people who are not Christian will not always stand by my side. And that's hard enough as it is. Yeah. But to not have my church, my Christian community stand by me, is a deeper hurt. Because our ideals should be more aligned. And that's why I feel like a lot of Black and evangelical is a word that I feel like a lot of people have issues with. But as Black Christians, I don't use it. They have issues with this because we don't always feel heard. And to not be heard in that community is different. Because that is when you tell me to leave my culture at the door, or to that we're all, you know, the Christian culture, then it shows that you don't see me in the same way. Like, you don't... Black people can get left out because we bring so much more when we come in. Like, there's so much that goes on with Black people that you can kind of want to, like, I don't want to touch that. And I agree, there's some things that I don't feel like should be spoken about in a pulpit. But when you start opening the door to politics and other things, like, when you openly don't speak about it, your silence speaks a lot.
So how do we go about speaking about it? Because I feel like when we did one time, it was not good.
What's the one time? Just real quick, refresh my memory.
When we, like...
Because I feel like this is happening a couple
wanted times. To walk a couple of times. We wanted to walk out. And it was, like a out-of-towner.
Oh, okay. Yes.
That was terrible.
It was. Yeah, I don't even know how to get into that.
What couple times are you talking about? That's the only time.
Well, okay, so we had a conversation or a situation once where there was he's not a missionary. He was just not from America. And he came and he spoke at a Sunday or Wednesday night Bible study. And he said some, I would say, like, controversial statements. It was a while ago. I can't remember everything. I don't remember everything that happened, but I do remember feeling uncomfortable.
Especially because there were a lot of older... a lot of older Black people in the room, and we were the youngest.
Probably.
I think
we usually are.
And we were the youngest, and we almost felt like we were the only ones who felt the way that we did. That's the impression I got. And I was like, are we the only people that's uncomfortable in here?
So,
like, are the older Blacks, like, more tolerant about stuff like I was so confused.
I don't think it's a tolerance. I do think that we come from a church that, like we spoke about it earlier, our church is predominantly Black, but it's Black in race, not Black in culture. As far as, like, we don't... Black churches have a certain culture. I mean, I don't know other way to put it. They're more typically existential, and it's just different. We're we're a Southern Baptist church in South Florida. Like, the combination of those two things is kind of, ironic in a way. Considering the makeup of South Florida, it's a bunch of, Caribbean people.
You keep saying it's Southern Baptist. I don't think it's Southern Baptist. I think it's just Baptist, bro. No,
it's Southern Baptist. It's
okay.
Clearly the SBC. Sorry, I don't know why I struggle with that. It's Southern Baptist Convention. BC. And we're... SBC.
Oh,
that's what it's called. And I'm pretty sure we're still a member. I know for sure we were a member. And we hosted, like, the conference at a few times back in the day.
Why are you saying the name?
So, anyway, what were we talking about? You threw me off for a second. Oh, we were talking about the group that came in and older black people in the church. So I feel like a lot of older black people were more comfortable in that church setting of a Southern Baptist church. And if you've been there long enough, I feel like you may be a little more, I guess, desensitized to some things. Because you're used to, kind of putting a lot of stuff behind you. And look, we're just here for Christ. It's true, but I don't know how to.
That's crazy though, ain't it?
It is, but I feel like I think that's a lot of what it is.
But also, the Bible talks about correction, so I don't know. At some point where you just kind of like, I'm fed up about putting this like behind me. I'm gonna go ahead and say something to you, and that's why you would just speak out. Mm-hmm. Is that why you would just speak out?
Is that why?
And have your little social media wars?
Yeah, I believe so. But at the same time, the church has a responsibility to own up to where it falls short. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we've kind of avoided that due to some people just don't want friction. Some people just don't want to have that conversation.
Right.
And I feel like that's where we fall short, being afraid to have those conversations and opening up. Because even like, I remember there was a time where I brought up an issue with, it was a Sunday night or a Wednesday night. I don't remember. We're having Bible study. And someone asked a question about the picture of white Jesus.
Okay.
And I felt like the way the question was answered, it kind of made the person not feel dumb, but like why would you even ask that? And me, I've grown up in the church. I've seen this image thousands of times. I don't ask you because I understand the greater importance of Jesus Christ and the greater meaning of Jesus Christ. But we don't know where everybody is in their walk with Christ.
Yeah.
So especially if you're new to the faith, that may be a hindrance. Like,
oh, you're saying somebody else asked?
Yeah, somebody asked, about it, and I remember I brought it up to someone in the church, mm-hmm. and I said, "Look, I'm not capping for him. This is why I think some people
I remember
have an issue with this, and it is an issue for some people. I don't think it should be dismissed. I think it should be addressed lovingly, but also with some form of like agreement. Jesus wasn't like white like the picture is.
Yeah.
I don't see why people don't have an issue with agreeing that, look, this image has been distorted and repurposed and reused a million times, and it's not factually correct.
Yeah. Because the answer, I remember what you're saying, because the answer was basically like, oh, why does it matter? Or like, does it matter what Jesus was? Yeah, because he's real. Like,
my thing is
he walked around like this.
Like the whole black Jesus, white Jesus, I don't, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. But it does matter to someone who's asking. Like, if someone asks, it's a legitimate question. I think it shouldn't be dismissed. I think it should be addressed and also explain why we don't like focus on it a lot.
Right.
Because that was someone's interpretation at the time. But in agreement that it is a inaccurate depiction, I think is worth what you can do by acknowledging that. I feel like can close the gap more on where people who are on the fence about Christianity can kind of like, okay, like there have been things done improperly, but that is not the totality of Christianity.
Yeah.
Like, but when you ignore it or you dismiss it, it feels like, it almost feels like you do it like it's done on purpose. It almost feels like it's done on purpose and nobody cares. And that's where Black people don't feel heard or in the church.
And I think what a lot of people are missing is the fact that, slavery has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
If we're talking about Christianity in America. So my sister does not live here. She lives in France. And when we have conversations about this, she is so like out of the loop because she's just like, this is not even... not that racism isn't an issue in France, because it is. But to the degree that it is here, it's like, she's like, no, like, we've never had to have that conversation in the church. Like, for what? Like, because they don't have the same history that we have here. And the role that even church has played in slavery, that question is important. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that goes into our next point about like misguided patriotism.
Oh. Okay.
What?
Yeah. Go ahead.
What?
No, go ahead. Because you know how I feel about this. But.
Yeah. We both know how we feel about this. But, yeah. So, what was I saying? Slavery.
Yeah.
I think that's why people hold this whole Amaga thing so dearly to their hearts, because they feel like, well, this is God's way or whatever. And it's like, this, like, I'm not going to say God, I'm not going to say like the Bible is telling me to like be the best American ever or whatever, or not be, because I don't even really feel like God cares about that.
God's not American?
He is?
Last time I checked, he wasn't American, but carry on.
So yeah, because I feel like I could get another opportunity and live in another country. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if I do that, then where does MAGA fall? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You were about to say something. No.
Well, I just, it's the mixture, right, of Christianity and politics that I feel like it's just conflated, like the whole...
It's never that black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and to see, like, I've seen a pastor wear shirts saying negative things about a presidential candidate or a president, and then I've seen...
You have?
Yes. And then I've seen...
Who are these people?
We won't get into it. Who are openly, like, supporting, like, Trump. And it's just bringing the two things together in that way, I feel like, is... I don't know. It just feels like because of some of the things that Trump stands for, it almost feels like, you know, it says something about that person in a way, I guess, that doesn't feel Christian, I guess, is the way to put it.
In the name of patriotism. Yes.
But it's, I don't know. The patriotism part of it, I don't know how much it affects me in a way that I don't mix the two, I guess. My Christianity, my patriotism, I don't mix the two.
Yeah, but a lot of people do.
Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like you're trying to say something.
No, I'm not. It's just, I guess I thought we were going somewhere else with this.
Oh, what? Where'd you think?
No, because my whole idea with misguided patriotism sometimes falls into place where like, but it's not a church thing. It's just more of a
people thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where people have the idea that, of what they think America stands for versus what it really stands for. And it's like, no, that's just your ideal. That's not an American ideal.
Yeah.
That's just your ideal.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I have more of an issue with misguided patriotism.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a big part too, because we've even had discussions with other Christians about just different voting points or whatever, like topics that most people stand on. Like when you hear about the candidates right now, and their platforms, and then some Christians are like, well, I'm going to vote for this person because they stand on this. And I'm just like, okay, but what about this issue that they stand on? Like, that's not really Christian either. Like,
the thing with politics and Christianity is, I feel like it's hard for me as a Christian to say I'm either a Democrat or a Republican, because I feel like both leave a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
But that's one of the issues in American politics is, for the most part, we only have two parties. So you're kind of limited in a way with who you vote for and who even has a chance to be president. So it's always the constant, I mean, am I picking between the lesser of two evils here? Mm-hmm. And not necessarily, I shouldn't be held to the beliefs of all the beliefs of one candidate, because there's not that many options, and I don't think either one is ever going to be perfect. So I don't feel like I get mad at people for voting one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's when it looks like your party has taken over your ideals more so than what the Bible has to say, or even just, I mean, humanity, like some level of human decency is not being met here, and you're letting that take over what the Bible would have to say about certain things.
Yeah. Because you also have, like, at least when I think about voting on certain issues and things like that, I'm a Christian, but I also think, okay, like, not everybody is. So I can't, like, vote just because of this. Because then what about every other issue that comes after it that's going to affect everyone, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just how I think. And I know a lot of people don't think like that. But yeah, what else have we not touched on?
I mean, there's so much. I think that's, for me, a lot of the negative aspects. Do you find any positive aspects of being young, Black, and Christian in America?
Yeah, because it's a little, I would say there's a good amount of us out here that are like-minded, and even if we're not, can understand the differences that we all have. Mm-hmm. So we're out here. It's an interesting little group.
I like to see it.
Yeah. I like being in the mix of that. I feel like that's mainly my community in the church.
I feel like, especially because a lot of Christianity can seem very stiff and rigid. I feel like when I see young Black Christians who are like living life and having fun and being out there, it shows a different side of Christianity that I don't feel like a lot of people get. You can live a full life, a happy life, have fun, and be Christian. And I feel like a lot of of the young Black people that I see out there who are kind of doing that, they're a good representation of that. Yeah. And I really like that, giving people another side of Christianity.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're on that side?
I try to be. Yeah. I try to be an example of it. I feel like even just us as a couple, like, to show my boys that, or when I say my boys, I mean like the kids that I coach, like, they can see a young guy that they can see for themselves, and marriage isn't a terrible thing. Like doing things quote unquote the right way is not boring. You can be happy with your wife and loving Christ, and it's not boring.
Yeah.
You can go out, you can make money, you can be happy, you can go on vacation, you can do all those things and still live a life that's worthy to Christ and not be a square.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there was something about your experience I wanted to ask you. Well, I guess, like, do you feel that the divide in that sense would lead you to leave certain churches? Like, that alone? Like, is that a legit reason to leave a church? Based on some of the things you have been through.
Because we've had our own discussions on, like, leaving churches or staying in churches, and what would it take? Like, what would be the breaking point for those types of things? I think the divide, if I feel like it was affecting the way we worshipped, then yes. I had a question once that I asked my pastor, because a lot of times, a lot of the issues that we see on TV or on the news, they're not here, right?
Yeah.
But I asked, if that ever happened here, how would our church react?
Yes.
Would we ignore it? Or would we step up? Because it's easy to get caught in your own bubble when you're far away from a situation. I would venture to say I'd want to be a part of a church that would feel compelled to respond or react in some way. Because I don't think Christ would just leave it alone.
Right.
So.
Right. Period. All right.
Good?
Is that it?
Yeah,
we might have to do another part or bring in other
I'd want to bring in
opinions.
some other opinions.
Yeah.
'Cause this is a lot, and I'd like to see or have this discussion with other people who are in a similar place, and just get their opinions too.
Yeah, and it's obviously a little heavy because it took us some time to get some things out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that on that.
All
for
right.
now.
So what are we gonna do? Going on to the
business spotlight.
business spotlight.
All right. All right, this episode's business spotlight is a company that I recently heard about, probably within the last month. I was watching YouTube, and I like watching like day in the life videos sometimes.
That's all you do.
It's like my favorite thing. And so this one girl was getting ready and doing her makeup, and she used the lip bar lippies. So it was a liquid matte lipstick. You know nothing about this. Nope. But it's fine. And she started talking about it or whatever, and I'm like, all right, that's a cool color. Let me look it up. So of course I go on their website, their Instagram, and come to find out they're like Black owned, they're vegan, cruelty free, like organic makeup. And I'm like, that's amazing, because I love lipstick and I love matte lipstick. And so they had all these colors. By the end of the day, I had like, how much was it in my cart? Because I think because they're like $13 or something like that. I had almost $200 worth of lipstick in my cart.
Wow.
But I didn't do it. I didn't do it because they're sold at Target. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to Target just to see what it looks like, what it feels like, whatever. And they had 2 out of like the 8 colors that I wanted. So I got the 2 and loved it.
So now you finna go crazy online?
So, Black Friday just happened, and everything was like 50% off. So I got 4 more colors. But yeah, so it was like $9 each. Much better priced. And
is that what you have on now?
I do. I have Boss Lady on my lips
Boss.
right now. It's a red. And I never wear red.
I liked it though. I said it because I don't really care for like,
Yeah, it's the holidays, so.
So I was like, oh, I like that. And then you're like, oh, you started going off like it's the lip balm. I don't care about the rest of it.
So they're based out in Detroit, we've never been to Detroit.
That's okay.
So they're based out of Detroit. So if you ever go there, you should definitely look up the lip bar. That's where their like flagship store is. But if not, take advantage. I'm pretty sure Cyber Monday is still a thing. So they will have great deals online. And I don't know if I'm like the only person excited about this, but they also have this thing called the Fast Face Kit. So their tagline is like makeup for people with ish to do, right? So you can literally beat your face in like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, or whatever. I don't do all that. I like my MAC foundation. So if you guys get the Fast Kit, let me know. But I'm going to stick to their lipsticks. And I might, dibble and dabble in their other things once my other stuff runs out. Because minimalism.
Yes, it's a thing.
So that's it for today.
Okay.
Kind of a heavy episode, but I hope y'all stuck it through.
I think we agreed 1 more for the year. 1
more for the year, and then we go on our long break.
Yes. So you get the 50th as the last one in the year off on a round number. So
yeah.
All right. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.
Peace.
When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That you might work.